Ready for Kid News? So are we. But first, a word from our awesome sponsor.
Hey parents, a question. What's the best way for a struggling student to beat the math blues? Decades of research say the answer is a dedicated one-on-one tutor, but those can be off the charts expensive and a gamble based on who you get. That's where Synthesis Tutor comes in. It's educational AI, the future of learning, and it gives kids a deep understanding of math and how to apply it to the real world. Visit synthesis.com/kidnews to get 10% off and begin learning with Synthesis Tutor today. Good morning and welcome to Kid News. I'm Kim. Today is Wednesday, February 21st, 2024. And we begin with an old satellite the size of an adult male rhinoceros tumbling back to Earth sometime today. According to CBS News, ERS-2 has been floating around since 1995, collecting data on our oceans and polar caps and monitoring natural disasters like flooding and earthquakes. But its batteries are depleted and its electronics are off, so there's no way to control it. ERS-2 is basically in a freefall, with an expected arrival in our atmosphere at approximately 4 p.m. Eastern Time today, give or take 7 hours. Not to worry, though. The European Space Agency believes most of it will burn up before it hits the ground, and the rest will likely land in the ocean. The odds of a human getting plunked by space junk? Reportedly less than 1 in 100 billion. While ERS-2 is nearing the end of its space adventure, Odysseus is just getting started. Today, the lunar lander faces its biggest challenge yet as it attempts to enter the moon's orbit en route to a historic, gentle landing tomorrow afternoon near the moon's south pole. Scientists have long been interested in studying that particular region because of the possibility of water ice in its craters. It's also where the astronauts of the Artemis mission are headed in 2026. If Odysseus successfully paves the way, it'll be the first American moon landing in more than 50 years. As if to build anticipation, Odysseus snapped some space selfies with Earth in the background. We posted a link to them on our resource page. Lots of positive adjectives are getting thrown around, but probably none more exciting or important than life-changing and potentially life-saving. The FDA has just given the green light to Xolair, an old asthma drug with a new purpose as the first and only approved medicine to treat severe food allergies in kids and adults. Xolair is not meant to be used during an allergic reaction. It is intended to be given every few weeks to reduce the risk of one over time. The FDA says people taking it should continue to avoid the foods they're allergic to, but that using the drug regularly will help decrease the dangers from accidental exposure. If you want to visit paradise, you may have to pay to protect it. Hawaii may soon slap all tourists with a $25 climate tax, which would be used to preserve beaches and prevent wildfires. If it goes through, the U.S.'s 50th state would follow other tourist hotspots, including Greece, Venice, Italy, the Galapagos Islands, and New Zealand, all of which have levied similar fees on visitors ranging from $1 to $100. Caitlin Clark's on-court record is now being reflected off the court at the cash register. The Iowa senior needed just a few minutes of game time last Thursday to net 8 points and become the highest-scoring women's college basketball player of all time. Within hours, she was also the top-selling name-image-likeness athlete on Fanatics, according to Front Office Sports, passing Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders for the title. The difference maker proved to be the Nike shirt her teammates wore after she broke the record, which read, "You break it, you own it." Caitlin now sits at 3,569 points and counting. Her next milestone, to chase down LSU legend Pete Maravich for the NC2A's all-time points record of 3,667 points. And in today's Kid News notes, the driest place in the U.S. isn't so dry right now. In fact, Southern California has had so much rain lately, there's now a pop-up lake in Death Valley that rangers say is perfect for kayaking. Usually, Badwater Basin is just a dry salt bed, but at least temporarily, it's home to Lake Manly, which is 6 miles long, 3 miles wide, and just 1 foot deep. But if you're gonna go, go soon. The National Park Service says this rare opportunity will likely only last a few weeks. That's it for Kid News. Now today's Kid News quiz. What are the odds of getting hit by falling space junk? One in 100 billion. If all goes well, when and where will Odysseus land? Tomorrow, near the moon's south pole. What U.S. state is considering a climate tourist tax? Hawaii. The Caitlin Clark t-shirt that's selling like hotcakes includes what slogan? You break it, you own it. In today's Kid News Kicker, how's this for presidential coincidence? According to records found by the Washington Post, our 16th Commander-in-Chief, President Abraham Lincoln, once pardoned the great-great-grandfather of our current Commander-in-Chief. President Biden's ancestor, Moses Robinette, worked as a veterinarian for the Army when he got into a violent fight and landed in jail, sentenced to 2 years of hard labor. 3 of his fellow officers appealed to President Lincoln, insisting Mr. Robinette only acted in self-defense. That, along with some other documentation, did the trick, with Mr. Lincoln making the pardon official on September 1st, 1864. The legacy of Moses Robinette lives on, and the story comes full circle with our 46th president, whose full name is Joseph Robinette Biden. Before we go, shout-outs to our Kid News teachers, including Mrs. Crimmings and her Bearcats at Stewart in Aledo, Texas, Mrs. Scudder and her stars at Thomas Jefferson in Roseville, California, and to Michigan for Ms. Reinhardt and her Chipmunks at Chestnut Hill in Midland, and Mr. Martin and his Gladiators at Fowlerville Junior High in Fowlerville. Thanks for listening. Please consider a tax-deductible donation to support Kid News. Any amount is appreciated and goes straight into the production of everyone's favorite nonpartisan nonprofit news podcast. Have a great day, and we'll see you back here for more Kid News tomorrow morning.